My process is pretty much the same for every project. It is first a bunch of research, and if it's for a non-historical or non like a show that's not an adaptation, I still like to do a bunch of research, even if it's just like visual research. So getting, this may be creepy, but take pictures off the internet of people that I think the characters are and put them all around me, or the setting or whatever, as much as I can do to find myself inside the world of the play. And then when it comes to writing, I have three documents for every project. I have what I call like unconscious writing, and then conscious writing, and then the draft that I'm working on. And so the unconscious writing is like basically a journal where if I get stuck, I just start kind of talking to myself in a journal. And then conscious writing is sort of where I do any plotting. So that's where outlines exist, or beats, or, work on the play that is organizing my mind. And then the draft is the draft. And when I write, have all three of them open, and I kind of just go between all three. And I find it really helpful. I think it's what prevents me from getting writer's block, because there's a lot of pressure to write in the draft really well. And I find that I can go really slow if I only am just, trying to figure out the next perfect thing to say. But if I find myself going slow, what I'll do is I'll like sort of downshift to writing in this sort of, in the conscious writing document, and I'll start figuring out what happens next, or figuring out the next like 4 scenes, or going back to the outline and making sure it's what it is. And if that's even too difficult, then I'll pop over to my, subconscious document, my unconscious document, and journal, and just say, I don't know what I'm doing. What's going to happen next? I'm confused. And eventually, out of that sort of stream of consciousness flow, something happens. I also work as a librettist, which means that I write both musical book and also occasionally lyrics, which I really love to do. Lyrics are super fun to write. So different than writing dialogue. Harder in some ways, and just requires a different part of my brain. I think of lyrics more like a puzzle, and you have to really, focus on economy and rhythm and rhyme. And so my process is different for, lyric writing and then dialogue writing too. For writing dialogue, I like to sort of silently sit at my desk and crank it out. And lyric writing, I find, is a lot easier to do when I'm on a walk, or in the shower, or on the train. The train is like so helpful for lyric writing. It's funny how they tend to sort of come when I am myself in sort of a state of motion. Mother of Exiles, which is the play that I received the Venturous Fellowship for, is one family's immigration story that takes place over 145 years, and also for us in the audience, 90 minutes. So it takes place in 3 movements. The first movement is in 1898, where the family matriarch, Eddie Loy, is being detained at Angel Island Immigration Station. And then the second movement is in 1998, in Miami, where her grandson is a border cop. And then the third movement is in 2043, and it takes place on the ocean, outside of what used to be Miami. And one of the things that I think is so exciting about the play is that each of these 3 movements is also its own genre. And so the first movement is magic realism, and the second is straight up farce, and the third is sort of a dystopic futurism. But the play as a whole, really is a story about tenderness and connection, and the truth that I believe in, that at some point everybody is going to need help from a stranger. So check it out. What I look for most in collaborators is that really delicious balance of rigor and playfulness. I love working with people who push me and who invite me to reconsider what I think I know, and also who are committed to creating the best possible version of what we're doing, and also bring joy and laughter and and a sort of buccaneer sense of discovery and play to the work that we're doing. And I gotta say, I love this field so much because collaboration is the best thing ever. I just adore it.